What's up, everybody? Damon here, and in today's gaming news, Starfield's Potatoes Explained, an upcoming Ubisoft game, has been denied access to PlayStation and Xbox, and you should make sure your PCs are ready for Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. This is your Daily Fix. Last week, you probably saw that a Starfield player stuffed 20,000 potatoes into their ship's cockpit. The clip went viral with awestruck reactions from players and game developers alike. But we weren't just impressed at the audacity of someone going through all the trouble of gathering that many potatoes. Digital Foundry's John Linneman called the clip mind-blowing because all the potatoes have physics. But what does it mean for something to have physics? We spoke to a number of game developers to get their insight on what's really going on in the potato clip, why more games don't let players do this kind of thing, and whether or not 20,000 tumbling potatoes really is as impressive as it seems. An Unreal Engine developer at Pingle Studio, that's Pingle, not Pringle, it's lunchtime here, named Nikita Luzansky explains, when they say that a game has 60 frames per second, this means that in 1 second, the game engine must process input data from the player, apply it to the game world, calculate the interaction of objects and systems in the game, and render the image on the screen. And it must do all this 60 times a second. When we talk about the physical interaction of objects in the game world, we must always remember that the more objects there are, the more checks the engine must do to get the result of the interaction. But this is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, we want to get the most realistic result, which will require a lot of calculations. But on the other hand, we are limited by the frame rate, because if we go beyond the upper limit, the game will start to slow down, and players don't like that. Because computers operate with time intervals or processor ticks, it's necessary to use multiple algorithms to calculate the movement of an object between those ticks, with each object moving a small distance at each interval depending on factors like acceleration, speed, and possible collisions. Nikita continued, for thousands of objects in one tick, you need to calculate the position of all of them for each pair of objects, check whether they intersect, and if they do, push one out of the other. However, if one object was pushed out of another, then there is no guarantee that when pushed out, it did not end up in another object, so you need to check the intersection between objects several times. Because of this, it turns out that in order to achieve a realistic collision of hundreds and thousands of objects, it is necessary to write code that would work quickly enough and produce a realistic picture in one frame. So basically, more potatoes equals more math per second equals more engine and computer power needed. So we've got 20,000 individual potatoes in a big pile all bumping into one another, the floor, and the moving door. And that's not even accounting for stuff like textures, lighting, audio, and the myriad gameplay systems that make Starfield a massive RPG, not just a potato physics tech demo. But basically, if any of Starfield's calculations are too slow or off in some way, then suddenly the 20,000 potatoes are doing weird, funny physics glitches. And that's where the brilliance of the Starfield clip lies. The potatoes are tumbling gently around like you would expect them to in real life, which gives a whole new meaning to the term potato quality graphics. Moving on, Ubisoft game Defiant has been denied certification by PlayStation and Xbox. In a written update, producer Mark Rubin said that Ubisoft started the certification process at the end of July. However, in mid-August, Ubisoft found out that the game received a not pass, to which Ubisoft presumably responded, not cool. If it had passed, then Defiant would have been released at the end of August. Now, Ubisoft has a search for compliances and functionality bugs within the game and fix them so that it can be shipped. Ubisoft plans to submit to first-party platforms for certification again in less than 2 weeks. If the game passes, then it can officially be released by mid to late September. Rubin explains, if we were following the standard rules for game releases, we would have set a date far enough in advance with enough buffer to have a confident release date. However, like a lot of things with this game, we have not chosen the typical route. Having millions of people play your game long before it's ready is not normal. Not being afraid to show an unfinished game to millions of people with all its flaws is not normal. These were real tests and not just marketing events. So, when it comes to when we will release, the real answer is as soon as we can, and we'll continue to update you with more info when we have it. Defiant is a free-to-play, first-person shooter. It has had several beta phases this year, including a closed one in April and an open one in June. It's coming to PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. In IGN's first closed beta impressions, we said, it's not perfect and definitely requires a lot of major and fine-tuning, but the core gameplay is there and it's fun. It does make you wonder, though, with all the buggy games that are released these days, just how bad is Defiant that Sony and Microsoft went full Gandalf when it comes to certification.
You shall not pass!
Even so, Ubisoft still plans to release this game in under 2 weeks. That really is Defiant. And finally today, ahead of the launch of the Phantom Liberty expansion and 2.0 update for Cyberpunk 2077, developer CD Projekt has warned PC players to double-check that their rigs are up to the task. Lead scene programmer Filip Pierzynski, Polish names are hard, took to X to ask Cyberpunk PC players to check their cooling systems in particular. He said, "We use all that you have, so workload on CPU 90% on 8-core is expected." I hope that means something to PC gamers out there. "To save your time, please run Cinebench or similar and check stability of your systems." Cinebench is a free cross-platform test suite that evaluates your computer's hardware capabilities. Cooling systems are of particular concern, as players may hit thermal throttling, which in turn may result in poor performance or even crashes. While Phantom Liberty is a paid expansion, it launches alongside a significant patch that overhauls the base game and therefore means the PC version will become more demanding. Fingers crossed, CDPR optimized everything for the console versions well enough that it doesn't turn them into space heaters. Then again, it is starting to get chilly outside. We'll find out soon enough when Cyberpunk 2.0 and Phantom Liberty launch on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on September 26th. And that is your Daily Fix for Tuesday, September 12th. Now that you're caught up on the news, check out a new animated trailer for Baldur's Gate 3. I'm Damon Hatfield, and for all your gaming news, stay tuned to IGN, keep on gaming, and I'll see you next time.